Hey everybody, Jeppy here, and welcome to the official Gekko lore video. We're going to check out everything Gekko has done in his life before and after joining the Valorant protocol with as much information we can find related to his lore. If you enjoy Valorant lore and think Gekko is an interesting agent, then make sure to leave a like if you're excited, and let's get right into this.
Watchale way. My crew is coming through.
So let's first start off with Gekko's real name. Look guys, alright, I already know I'm going to get absolutely flamed for butchering this pronunciation, but Gekko's real name is Mateo Armendariz de la Fuente. I mean, that was just impeccable pronunciation, if I do say so myself. Gekko was born and raised in the city of Los Angeles of the United States, making Gekko the confirmed third agent to be from the United States on the Valorant protocol. Gekko appears to be in his younger 20s and has an extremely creative and outgoing personality and style.
Man, my critters have the zoomies right now. Everyone watch your step.
He's clearly all tatted up with rocking whatever hairstyle color he wants to wear at the time, and his outfit is interesting as well. As far as I can tell, we actually don't have a confirmation of if he's actually a human or a Radiant, which is kind of weird. From what I looked up, it still looks like it's up for debate whether he's human or a Radiant, and Riot will just have to confirm it when they're ready. But before we move on to Gekko's life and all the interactions he has with other agents of Valorant, a word from today's sponsor. Question: are you the type of person who likes to snoop on others and get as much info as possible on them? Well, when it comes to playing Valorant, there's no better way to do that than Valorant Tracker. I said literally everything there is to say about the app in previous sponsorships, like all of your personal stats and the in-match tool. Like your Sherlock Holmes, you could spy on your enemies with the in-match tool that gives you a brief overview of how good everyone, is in the act overall, or with the specific agent they're playing in your match. If you want to learn more about that, you can look up your teammates or enemy by clicking the link next to their name in the in-match tool, and we'll bring up their stats in your default web browser. Use my link in the description or the pinned comment, of course, to download Valorant Tracker completely for free, and thank you as always for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so according to Gekko's trailer, we saw that he was recording himself changing up his hair color. We hear his mother in the background of the house causing a ruckus, dealing with all of Gekko's pets. We can pretty much assume at this point that Gekko lives with his mother. I'm not too sure if we got any information yet about his father as far as I can tell. Maybe he just wasn't there in the house, when Gekko was filming at that very moment, or perhaps he's not in the picture or something. I just don't know. Some possible clues of what Gekko's childhood was like, though, can be seen in one of his personal player cards in his contract. There isn't a whole lot here, if I'm being honest with you guys. It does look like, though, that Gekko, when he was younger, was possibly running from the kingdom after doing something, well, he shouldn't have. Now, we do know that Gekko had a run-in with the kingdom, and perhaps more specifically K-Sex division of the kingdom, not too long ago. One thing he could have gotten in trouble from them, though, is by possibly stealing the gang that Gekko always refers to, the cute little creatures he uses in his gameplay, from the kingdom. Now, as I'm looking around, I think this is still relatively up in the air and not like 100% confirmed to my knowledge. As I explain of all this, you'll see how it likely leads in this direction, that Gekko stole his creatures from the kingdom. So speaking of his creatures, how about I let Gekko introduce them for himself, and then we'll get into the story of how they are no longer with the kingdom.
It's all you, Mosh. Get him, Wingman. Nice one, Dizzy. Thrash isn't done with you.
All right, so we have Mosh, Wingman, Dizzy, and Thrash. Personally, I think Wingman is the cutest. I mean, just look how adorable he is. So possibly the biggest clue we have that Gekko, stole or maybe even rescued his gang from the kingdom is in Reyna's email sent to Brimstone. Critter cover-up from Reyna to Brimstone. Nobody who saw Gekko's creatures is talking. Cypher confirmed the lack of incriminating surveillance video. To be safe, he coded a worm to hunt online footage. K-Sec has no clue where to find their stolen property or the thief's identity. I'll talk to Gekko about being more covert. We got away with it this time, Brimstone, but K-Sec, they'll never stop looking. So the few clues are: 1, Gekko broke into a kingdom facility and stole something of their property. 2, nobody who saw Gekko's creatures are talking, indicating that his creatures were present at the time. And 3, K-Sec will never stop looking for their stolen property. Now, the way Reyna's email sounds is that this happened relatively recently, which would indicate that Gekko and his gang of adorable little squishy beings haven't been together for very long. Another clue that Gekko's gang was held up or possibly even, created at the kingdom is with his reveal trailer. There is a segment where one of Gekko's gang, well, Thrash in particular, notices a Kingdom employee poster in the train they were taking. It very much seems to me that for whatever reason, Thrash, well, thrashed out, specifically when seeing something related to the Kingdom. Now, this is theory mode, of course, so definitely take this with a grain of salt, but I am starting to think that perhaps the Kingdom created all of Gekko's gang in a lab using radionite to bring them to life and tested on them as well. It was probably a scary and horrific experience for the gang, and that's why we see Thrash go into anger mode when seeing what resembles a Kingdom scientist. And if this is true, would that mean that, Gekko's, beings, his creatures with him, are they the first conscious creatures created by radionite? I wonder. Now, all of this can totally not be true at all, with everything you just said with the Kingdom, creating them, but I thought it would be interesting. What do you guys think? Now, we do know that Gekko was friends with Reyna even before joining Valorant, and even knew that Reyna was part of Valorant, which is kind of strange if you ask me, because isn't the protocol supposed to be kept to the utmost secrecy? Yet Gekko knows about it from Reyna. Perhaps Reyna isn't keeping Valorant's security standards high up on her priority list? Anyways, they are friends, and it looks like that once Reyna found out that Gekko has all these adorable creatures with him and willing to do, whatever he says, whatever Gekko says the creatures do it, that's when she thought Gekko could be used to Valorant. It's likely that Reyna is the one that suggested recruitment into Valorant, and Brimstone was quickly to show his eagerness as well for him to join. There was a funny teaser sequence before Gekko's release that shows Gekko wasn't exactly off to a great start with reliability when accidentally missing, a ton of calls from Brimstone, at 9 to be exact. It's also worth noting that Gekko refers to Harbor as Coach. He has plenty of voice lines that say the same thing as well.
Hey, Coach, this counts as training for today, right? Right? Those were some crazy-ass moves, Coach. Shit.
So it seems like that Gekko and Harbor are off to a really, really good start, and Harbor is showing off his expertise and his knowledge to Gekko, who is likely very, very new to this whole, shooting people, saving the day kind of thing. In another teaser sequence, we see Brimstone freak out that Gekko didn't answer his calls again, with Sage asking Reyna if this is a good idea to recruit him, and with Reyna replying that he probably has his phone off or something, and that Reyna trusts him. Also, it's also funny that Neon was freaking out calling out Brimstone for signing his texts each and every time he sends one in the group chat. I thought that was hilarious. Then Gekko, Jet, Reyna, and Brimstone had a great meal together right as Gekko gets recruited as the 22nd agent of the Valorant protocol. Once Gekko gets to Valorant headquarters though, he gets a word of advice from Brimstone about how to handle weapons when training and not to take the competitive comments of other Valorant agents personally, as they are just trying to win and be the very best that they can be. Gekko asks Brimstone if he can get a bigger room at headquarters to fit not only himself, but all 4 of his creatures.
Ayo, Brimmy Brim, hear me out. I love the room, for real, but my crew needs their own space sometimes, and it's a little crowded right now, so check this. What if we knock down some of the walls, combine my room with the one next door, double it up? Eh? Let me know what you think.
One more thing I do want to talk about for all of Gekko's gang seem to have their own personalities and may even learn and appreciate recognition from Gekko, which is very interesting.
Hey, little man, pump us up. Let's hear it.
Goes to show that even though they're little globs, adorable globs at that, they actually have a personality. So think about that next time you shoot Wingman defusing the spike, okay? He's got a personality and he's adorable and you're just killing him. So yeah, think about that. Let's take a look at some other interactions with agents on the protocol that Gekko has. We already know that Gekko and Reyna are really close, and it looks like that he has a ton of respect for her and calls her the queen.
Hola, mi reina. Make way for the queen. Yo, did you see Reyna? Jefa's unstoppable.
Even when he has to kill Reyna from the Valorant Legion, the opponents, he seems sad in doing so.
Perdóname, mi reina.
We also see that Gekko doesn't have any ill will or hatred at all for his Omega double on the Valorant Legion. Of course, many of our fellow agents don't like their doubles, but it looks like that Gekko feels bad about it, and he just doesn't want to think that there's another him on the other side of the battlefield.
Yeah, girl, that's us over there. Try not to think about it. Damn, I never thought I'd have beef with myself, Sorry, little guys. And me.
Apparently, one of Gekko's creatures doesn't think Chamber is just the most dashing man alive in Valorant's lore. You know, like how I think he is.
Chamber, don't listen to her. You look great.
That's right, Gekko. Chamber does look great. Also, apparently, Gekko's gang of creatures may also turn into a gang of criminals, considering one of them wants to steal Killjoy's shoes.
You want KJ's shoes? Chale, dude, you can't even wear shoes.
For legal reasons, that was a joke that Gekko has a gang of criminals. Moving on, I'm not so sure if Gekko is being serious here, but he may have asthma or is just being dramatic to Viper.
Yo, Viper, are we really safe breathing that in? I low-key have asthma.
Also, I thought it was hilarious he said low-key. Like, you know, Riot is really keeping up with their, you know, slang urban dictionary terms. And, you know, and it really does show that they are in touch with the community and in touch with just how, you know, young people are in culture right now. So, everyone, I think that about wraps up Gekko's lore here in Valorant. Unfortunately, to be honest, we don't actually have a ton of lore related to him at this very moment, you know, upon release. I'm positive down the road we'll get a lot more when it comes to Gekko, especially his close relationship with Reyna. But like I said, it is sad that he did release with not a ton of backstory, and his trailer didn't really show a ton about him either. So that is kind of sad, but you know, it is what it is. And you know, we will learn about him in the future, so just stay tuned for that. If you guys enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe notifications if you're new. Now with all that being said, Jeppy out!